And a good morning to everyone. I am Reverend Barbara, the grateful minister of this congregation. My pronouns are she and her. I'm joined today in the service by Service Associate Paolo Sparti, and most of the worship associates for this year will be part of this service. Today's music is by Tad Korieth and the Fellowship Choir, Jeremy Dean and Debbie Larson. And from the RE department, the religious education, Mist Ari and Killy Kaleborn. Today's tech team, Larry Sherwood, Deborah Mensch, Kathy Partridge. As I offer words to all of us in person and online, I invite us to speak together a response. You are welcome here after each line of this litany. So let's practice that. What are you going to say? You are welcome here. Children, loud voice from you as well. Here we go. In all the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes and sizes, gifts and challenges that come together in your uniqueness, you are welcome here. In all the ways you experience and express gender, in the beauty that is who you love and how you love. You are welcome here. In all the ways that make your living and the places you are from. You are welcome here. With all of the traditions that inform your spiritual life. You are welcome here. No matter how long you are away or how soon you will return. Whether you come with laughter in your hearts or tears, you are invited to come with curious mind, a loving heart, willing spirit. Everyone is welcome here. Welcome, everyone. As a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association, this congregation is committed to being a center for spiritual exploration and justice making, as well as to anti-racism and anti-oppression work within the congregation and in the world at large. If you are new here, any newcomers today? If you are new here, you have arrived on Ingathering Sunday, the traditional start of the church year, highlighted by the water ceremony. In person, stop by the welcome table in the foyer for more information about this fellowship and for our newcomer forum, for you newcomers. And information about the fellowship is also on the QR code, which is in the back inside of the gray hymnal, which is in your seats. If you would like to use your smartphones to access a written order of the service, you can capture the QR code on the screen. If you have trouble accessing it, feel free to stop by the AV desk after the service to get some assistance with using the code. So we're making available the contents of the entire service if you want to see more details about the service through that QR code. After the service, my friends, let's come together in fellowship, either in the fellowship hall or virtually on Zoom. And then at 11:30, we will be holding a transition forum in this room. That is a time to talk more deeply about this interim period, 11:30 to 12:30. I'll remind you about that again later in the service. And now, let's take a moment to greet one another, either in the Zoom chat or by turning to your neighbor. Everyone, make a point to say good morning to the children. Again, a good morning to everyone. And now, my friends, it's time for our chalice lighting. If you have a chalice at home, you can light it as we say the words here in the fellowship. You may want to include in the chat where your chalice is lighted, that is where you are. Here in the fellowship, in the room, let us invite Paulo and Sam to light our chalice this morning as we say our chalice lighting words. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. Thank you both. And now, the second ringing of the bowl invites us to draw deeper into this moment and into the sacredness of this service. Making our way like rivers from places distant and near, we come together to create and honor the rituals and symbols that give meaning to life. We come together to question and to listen. We come together to celebrate and to create. We come together to weave a spirituality that respects our minds, connects our hearts, empowers our souls, and makes a difference in the world. It is good to be together on this day of ingathering. Come, my friends, let us worship together this morning and be glad. On this day of celebration, celebrating the ingathering as well as the water ceremony, let's enjoy some very special singing and storytelling by Mist Ari.
Good morning, everyone. So, today we're going to start with a song. We are doing a bit of a river theme, and today we're going to be doing a song I love that I sang when I was a small child called Spring Up a Well. You are welcome to join us in body or spirit to do the motions, and I'm going to have Bess helping me, but we're going to go through them really quickly all together. So my friends that are sitting down here, you can pay attention to us. So the song goes like this. I've got a river of life flowing out of me, working for peace. You can show your peace. And then this is ASL for simplicity. So you got your fingers like this, and simplicity. Put your hands like this. Open prison doors, let the captives free. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. And then this is the best part. Then you're going to go down, and you're going to go, spring up, oh well, and jump up really big. I know that that is not something everyone can do, but you are invited to do so as feels comfortable. And if you don't want to jump, you can always just spring up with your arms. All right, we're going to give it a try. It's pretty easy, but I'd love to see everybody who wants to dancing along with us. I've got a river of life flowing out of me, working for peace and simplicity. Open prison doors, let the captives free. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. All right, everybody. Spring up a well within my soul. Spring up a well and make me whole. Spring up a well and give to me that life abundantly. I've got a river of life flowing out of me, working for peace and simplicity. Open prison doors, set the captives free. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. Spring up a well within my soul. Spring up a well and make me whole. Spring up a well and give to me that life abundantly. One more time. I've got a river of life flowing out of me, working for peace and simplicity. Open prison doors, set the captives free. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. Spring up a well within my soul. Spring up a well and make me whole. Spring up a well and give to me that life abundantly. So, 10 years ago today was my very first Sunday here at the fellowship. It was Water Sunday. Oh yeah, and so I really wanted to be a part of this service today, and I feel so happy and blessed to do this Time for All Ages today. We're going to be telling you a story. For those of us and all of you here that have done the No Rehearsal Christmas pageant before, it's going to be very similar. I'm going to tell a story, and we have some wonderful helpers that are going to do the story and perform it for you. This is no rehearsal. We'll see what happens. Probably going to be a little chaotic, as it often is. All right. This story is called The Elephant and the River. If my elephant can please come up. This wonderful elephant is my lovely child, Kimiko, wearing an elephant costume that was mine when I was like this big. All right. Once upon a time, there was an elephant. Elephant was living life doing their usual elephanty things. One day, they were approached by a katydid. That's you. Hello, katydid. The katydid asked Elephant to join her and her friends in the river. Elephant was trepidatious to join. I don't know about that. I've been to other rivers before. They explained that some rivers were too narrow and some had been too cold. Some went to places too far and too dangerous for them. Katydid reassured Elephant about the aforementioned river and encouraged them to come see for themselves. It's not like they couldn't leave if they didn't want to. Katydid, you can put the rocks in the river now. The elephant saw the river. All right, so we are going to have some friends who want to be our river come up. And this is, not that one though, not the long one. Awesome. And also, anyone here who wants to participate in our story is welcome too. I have to say though, our story will be posted on YouTube. If you do not want to be on YouTube, do not come up on the dais. All right, so let's have our water be here, and we're going to wave and flow with our water. The river wasn't too turbulent or stagnant. A river can be a little shorter. It wasn't too crowded or too narrow. It had enough room for everyone. Parts of it were deep enough for swimming and parts were shallow enough for walking. It's not everyone wants or needs to be in the river the same way. There were many different plants and animals in the river coming from many different places. Some visit for a day, some would spend years returning to the river regularly to see friends and learn new things. The elephant decided to belong at the river, helping and playing and meeting new friends. All right, so I need some friends for the river. If our river can sit down and anyone who wants to be an animal friend, you can come grab an animal and be our animal friends in the river. Please don't step on that, Sammy. All right, and so we can have our friends and our animals be here, crouched down. All right. Friends. Over the years, we're not ready for that yet. Elephant met many new friends. Elephant grows pretty close to some of these friends, and the hard part about making friends, though, is that sometimes they need to leave. The river isn't supposed to be a forever place. It wouldn't be welcoming if it meant you were stuck there. Elephant was sad every time a friend left. We can have some friends go and pick new animals if they want, but you can also just stay here. Elephant was sad every time a friend left, whether they knew them for a day or a year or many years. The river became such a wonderful and diverse place as more and more animal friends joined them. But even a river as wide and welcoming as this one couldn't have space for everyone. Beaver suggested making the river wider. This was a good and necessary thing, but it was still sad. It meant that they couldn't play in their river for a while. All right, friends, you're going to come over to this little smaller river, and I'm going to have friends come over here behind the little river, okay? All right, and then we're going to need a couple friends here to help Beaver move these big rocks. They moved the rocks and bends around so they could make a better space and to be more accommodating for an even wider variety of friends. They found another river to share while the work was being done, but sharing wasn't always easy, and this river wasn't quite the same and couldn't meet everyone's needs in the same way. And let's put our rocks in this red bin. And just as Beaver was coming to tell Elephant that the river was ready for them, the river had to become virtual for a while. So, friends, let's put down our things. Some of you have these squares on your seats or near you or under your seats. There's a couple of you up here. And we're going to hold our virtual rivers up together. It was hard to look at the river from afar. It was sad that so many important things happened while they were away from it, and they couldn't share it in the same way. But Elephant could still see and hear their friends, and they all waited eagerly to meet again. And because the river went virtually, we had some really neat things happen, like our friends who are meeting virtually with us today. Finally, it was time for them to return to their river. All right, we can put our frames down now, and let's pick up some river again. And if you have your animals, you can wave them around too. When they all returned to the river, it was something entirely familiar and totally new. Elephant and friends were elated to exist in that new space together, even if their time apart had changed so many things. It had changed all of them. How appropriate, they thought, for a river to be this special place. A river always changes, and it could change them and change with them over and over again, as long as they called it home. All right, friends, let's say thank you to our wonderful actors. Nice, good job. All right, if our friends can go sit back down, I'm going to hand you this.
So, some of you may have heard some familiar themes in that story. And whether you're just getting to know Miss Ari or you've been in the river with them for some time, you may have caught on that that story wasn't entirely fiction. Today marks 10 years of Ari being with us at the fellowship. So let's just take a moment to thank them for all that they've brought us.
Oh! No, you did it right.
Thank you, Ari. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, and congratulations. I'd like to invite all of this year's service associates who are here today to come forward, in part to introduce you to the service associates for this year, and to offer a reading about water.
Listen to the waters. We draw from many wells, from oceans and rivers, from lakes and streams.
From the muddy Mississippi to the roaring Rio Grande.
From faraway places and from ponds and puddles in our own backyards.
And yet all are refreshing. Each rivulet is cleansing, each capable of nurturing and sustaining life.
Let us honor the wisdom of the waters.
Water is gentle, it nourishes and cleanses both our bodies and our spirits.
Water is powerful. It shapes our earth, cutting through rock and sometimes washing away everything in its path. In its myriad forms, water is the common bond of life. The water the dinosaurs drank is the same water that we drink today.
Everything is composed mostly of water.
We also recognize that water can bring injury, death, destruction, reminding us to reach out to any of our neighbors in need affected by climate change.
We also draw from many spiritual traditions which honor water. As we read some of these traditions, as you wish, we invite you to offer some signal, such as raising your hand or standing as we name a spiritual tradition which enlivens your participation in Unitarian Universalism.
Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, begins with a ritual where people cast pieces of bread into flowing water to carry away sins and make their spirits clean.
Christians and Unitarian Universalists use water to welcome our babies into this world.
Hindus believe that bathing in the holy river Ganges is essential for life to be complete.
Diverse Native American, pagan, and feminist traditions revere water as a sacred gift.
On Buddhist altars, you'll often see small offerings of drinking water that represent acts of compassion.
Humanists recognize how much of the sacred vessel that is our bodies is water. Taoists tell us to be like a mountain and flow like a river.
Islam teaches that no one should possess water because water is a divine gift intended for all.
Indeed, then, today we bring all our waters, actual and metaphorical, into communion with one another, just as we pool the many insights that transform our own singular experiences of life. A droplet of water remains clear and translucent, almost invisible. In combination, many drops together create a brightly varied rainbow, and unseen realities can be made real. Thank you, Service Associates.
Each week, we remind ourselves of the abundance of our lives and this community by giving half of our plate away to those organizations that share our values. This Sunday, Half Plate benefits Together Colorado, a nonpartisan, multiracial, or multi-faith community organization working to place humanity, dignity at the center of public life in Colorado. You can text your donation to at the number on the screen, or if you are at the fellowship today, place a donation in the offering plate as it passes. Please give generously as you so often do. We invite you to reflect upon and write into the chat, if you're on Zoom, your answer to this question. What's your favorite way to play in water?
for the work of this fellowship, bringing love, reason, compassion, and justice to this world, and for Together, Colorado, we dedicate these offerings and say thank you. So once again, good morning to everyone. So good to be with you here in this room, online. I have a reading by one of my minister colleagues named Meg Barnhouse, Reverend Meg Barnhouse, who is a very creative storyteller. She's served ministry in Central Texas, among other places. This reading about story also reminds me about the many stories I've heard from you during our recent meet and greet conversations. I spoke with over 75 of you and have collected quite a number of stories from you. Listen to these words from Reverend Barnhouse. All summer, workers had been building a brick wall along the road by my neighborhood. Against the brutal heat, they stretch a tarp overhead to get a little shade. I've watched them take bricks in their dusty brown hands, one by one, butter them thickly with mortar, then line them up and tap them down row by row. One man who looks to be in his 70s is the leader, his skin the color of bittersweet chocolate. Slender and tall, he moves from one group of bricklayers to the next, reaching and bending, looking like a heron in a marsh. When he pauses, he stands very straight. I see him teach the others how to do the work. He stoops over to look at a line of bricks, hands on his thighs, inspecting the work. Sometimes as I drive by, I see him put his hand on the back of the person he's teaching. Often, they're both smiling. He looks like he loves what he's doing. I wonder how he can love building walls day after day, teaching the art of laying bricks. Is it the teaching he loves? Does he love the wall itself? Does he look forward to seeing it finished? I think, from the look on his face, that he loves the process. I imagine that he never thinks about the completion of the wall. I think he will go on to the next wall as if it were just a continuation of this one, then the next one, and never be bored. I want to be like that. And I guess I am in part. In my job as a minister, the bricks are stories. I hear stories of family and work, stories of loss and reconciliation, stories of rejection and disaster, illness and healing, birthing and dying. I tell stories every Sunday and in between, teaching, challenging, confessing, inviting people to learn and laugh and think. Brick by brick, story by story, we build a church. Seeing the patterns, the symmetry, the plain joy of setting one story on the other, sustained by the strong and beautiful structures they make. We will never be finished. It's okay. Words by Reverend Meg Barnhouse. Well, once again, a greeting to everyone, to persons of all ages who are here today. Welcome. Welcome back. Welcome for the first time if you are a newcomer here in this sanctuary and online. You are welcome here, no matter your spiritual or religious values, no matter your personal self-identity, no matter how you worship or whom you love. I'm so glad to be with you on this ingathering Sunday in this multi-generational service here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship here in Boulder Valley. And speaking of this multi-generational service, why don't we give one more special shout out to the children who are here in this service today. Children, we are so glad you are here in the service. You are welcome. This time of the year reminds me of a two-headed figure named Janus, who looks in two directions at the same time, backward and forward. We'll do the same this morning, thinking back on where we've been and forward to the future. All our reflections, memories, joys, and sorrows represented by the pouring of waters later in the service. There's so much to recall and so much to look forward to at this time of year. So much to wonder about in American culture and in politics, as well as in the state of the environment. So much to wonder about as seasons change. So much to wonder about in our personal lives. So much to wonder about in the life of this congregation with this new interim ministry. A type of ministry which I realize many of you have not experienced before. Indeed, we are what may be called a liminal time, an in-between time, neither here nor there, in the process of becoming. I hope this will be a year of positive becoming for each of you and for this congregation. A time of exploration and enjoyment for everyone. A time to reflect on those many reasons you come to church: for spiritual deepening, intellectual growth, community development, and of course, just plain fun. I'm glad you're here. The theme of the Soul Matters program for September is the practice of invitation, which I expect many of you have already looked at or will be looking at. We invite others in through many means. One means of invitation is the telling of our stories and deeply listening to stories of others. I expect most of us enjoy hearing stories as well as telling our own. For you who have attended the small group meet and greet, think on the stories you heard from others and how they invited you into knowing you yourselves more deeply. It makes a difference, doesn't it, looking at life as story, rather than as only a series of events or tasks or drub work that needs to be done. Viewed as story, our experiences feel alive and flexible, more personal, experiences that we belong to and that belong to us. Viewing our experiences as story gives the facts some shape and helps us remember them better. I wager many of you have stories to tell about your summer. So during social time after the service, I invite each of you to tell at least one other person a story about your summer. And adults, ask a child to tell you their story. And children, I hope you can find at least one grown-up to share stories with after the service. Seeing our lives as story matters. It's important. Think about any good storyteller you've heard who paints pictures in your mind's eye, such as the author of the reading I offered, Reverend Meg Barnhouse. Reverend Meg sees ministry as story, and herself as creator of stories, stories about her ministry. Just like the bricklayer, her ministry has been filled brick by brick, story by story. Brick by brick, we build structures. Story by story, we build churches. This morning, our stories will be represented through the element of water as we celebrate the traditional water ceremony. This is a ceremony of invitation, of coming back, coming in. The pouring of water represents our reflections, our memories, our hopes, our joys, our sorrows, stories of the past, stories of the present, stories of the future. So many stories represented by the waters. Now sit tight. I will explain the process for the water ceremony more exactly before I invite you to participate. Stories include both information and perspective on the information. When we tell a story, our personal lens frames the story and influences the meaning we give the story. If we have a negative lens, say on a family visit, we'll probably talk about how great Uncle Charlie always disagreed with us in matters of religion and politics, rather than remembering the good times we all had at family dinners. In contrast, if we have a positive lens on our stories, perhaps on a summer vacation, we'll remember rare moments of sun and forget about those endless days of rain when we were rained out from going to the beach. I find it quite amazing how the same set of facts can generate vastly different stories in different people, and even how one set of facts can generate different stories within one person from day to day or press conference to press conference. In addition to different lenses on a story from different people at any given moment, our perspective can change over time as we process emotional reactions to events, as we learn new facts, as we build new relationships. Over time, most likely any of us will tell the same story differently. What matters is that we have control over how we tell the story. Don't we do this with stories about our families? When we learn new pieces of the story, we have that moment of saying, oh, that explains it. Why great Uncle Charlie held the political view he did. Or why a particular habit in a congregation is the way it is. That explains it. Over time, we generate new versions of our stories. Think about any of your summer stories that you're going to share after the service. Will you tell them the same way 6 months from now or 6 years from now? Stories are constantly transforming. Think about stories in this congregation. Are they different now from when life was thick in the middle of the COVID lockdown? Or when there were significant changes in congregational leadership swirling around you? Thank goodness for the possibilities of changing our lenses, rewriting our stories, those stories of who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. During this interim ministry, congregations are called on to review their stories, that is, their histories. Because knowing the past, now hear my words, not living in the past, but knowing the past, is central to how you live in the present and imagine the future. So during our first transition forum, which we offer today starting at 11:30, and which I encourage everyone to attend in this room for an hour, I will say more about story and history as one of the focus points of this interim work. Think about this coming year. What will be the story of this congregation? And what role will you play in the story? How will you contribute to a compassionate and creative story? So again, 11:30, back in this room, me in leadership supported by the transition team. So after a brief music transition, we will begin our water ceremony after I conclude my remarks. Our pouring of waters is for us here in this room and for folks online. Our combining of waters represents our ingathering, our coming back together. Each person of all ages is invited to participate, and parents, support your children, encourage the children to take part in this ceremony as well. And I invite you up front here to choose one of 3 bowls in which to pour the waters, which represent either your memories of the past, your realities in the present, or your visions for the future. To offer more specifics, here in the sanctuary, I invite you who wish to pour your water here in the sanctuary to come up the center aisle and then either stay at the center bowl or go to the side bowls. And then as you leave, go toward the side aisles so that we can keep the flow of traffic going, so we're not having gridlock in the middle of the center aisle. So again, come up the center aisle and then find your way out. And the children will be very courteous about letting you through there if you want to go all the way around. Either bring water you've brought, or there is water up here for you to pour. Additionally, if you prefer to not come forward, Paulo has a bowl which he will walk around and invite you at your seats to offer the water, which then will be added to the whole. And online, folks at home, I invite you to, if you've prepared a water ceremony, to get your waters out so you can share in the sharing of waters with us. I trust these directions are clear. Again, you'll have an invitation. It'll be clear when it's time to start the ceremony. As we come back here at the end of the summer and look forward to the future, may all our visions, memories, and reflections be filled with love, with hope, with grace, and with compassionate connections with all living creatures and with Mother Earth. May all this be so. So friends, I invite you to come forward as you wish, and I trust for you to regulate the traffic flow. Come forward to the center and then go out the side aisles. And at home, I invite you to your water ceremony of your own. Please come forward for the sharing of waters while we enjoy the music of the choir. Be like water. Run deep, run clear. Fill any space to its own dimensions. Respond to the moon, to gravity. Change colors with the light. Hold your temperature longer than the surrounding air. Take the coast by storm. Go underground. Bend light. Be the one thing people need, even when they're fasting. Eat boulders. Quietly be a universal nurturer of the soul. And this morning, my friends, let us also be together after celebrating this ceremony of past, present, and future. Let us be together in some moments of prayer, meditation, and intentional focus. As we call on Great Spirit, known by many other names, including God and love. Great Spirit, We grieve the tragedy of yet another school shooting, this time in Atlanta earlier this week. We grieve the passing of 4 beloveds, as well as the injury of many others in that community. We grieve the tragedy of gun violence, which reigns apparently unabated in our schools, our communities, our society. May we all commit to do all we can to curtail this out-of-control access. Finally, then, Great Spirit, we take one more moment, a moment of silence, to hold in our heart unspoken joys and sorrows, perhaps some we didn't even realize where they are. We listen all the more deeply. Let us be together, joined through the silence, here and with folks online. Amen, and blessed be. My friends, we conclude our service with music, singing more about the flow of life. In the gray hymnals, I invite you to rise in body or in spirit for hymn number 108, My Life Flows On. My life flows on, continuing like all those rivers we've visited this morning. Please rise in body or in spirit. Be seated, my friends. What a wonderful service. I'm so glad to be with you all. It's my honor to be serving this congregation. We have one announcement. I've already mentioned it. I do invite everybody, as you can, to attend the Transition Forum. Starting at 11:30, you'll learn more details about this interim period. We'll give you a chance to ask some questions. The transition team will be there. We'll tell you who they are and what they do and why you should buy a book that they're promoting. So please, at 11:30 to 12:30. And now, as our service ends, we extinguish our chalice. We invite Paulo and Lavender, you're going to help. Lovely. And I invite us all to rise in body or spirit for the chalice extinguishing. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. Until we again. And I invite us now to share our benediction. You may want to reach out, touch the hand or the arm or the spirit of someone near you. For those of you who have come here seeking God, may God go with you. For those of you who have come here seeking life, may life return your affection. For those of you who have come here seeking a better way, may that way be found and the courage to take it. When you leave here this morning, my friends, go in peace. When you return to this sacred space, return in love and in hope and in story. Amen. Shalom. Salam. Namaste. Blessed be.